rolling then. We'd like to call a meeting to order. We're being recorded. This meeting is being recorded.
1 minute to 7.
Oh, it's one of? Oh, that was way past by now.
12 o'clock, I'm looking at.
That one's at 7.
It's after 7.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good. The meetings, as you know, is being recorded, and there is no public here. There is one public here, but he knows all the players, so we won't introduce ourselves tonight. We'll start by doing review the minutes, and approve the minutes from last meeting.
I just have one comment to make.
Yes,
It's water quality certification.
water quality certification, okay.
Just so it's clear, we're talking about something specific.
Okay.
Not just general water quality.
Okay. Certification, water quality, right here, okay, I see it.
Yep, just certification.
Actually, let me read up and change it right now.
Does that bullet go to public hearings above that? Or it's not related to those?
No, that should be.
Doesn't that go with, the property on Route 68, right?
Yeah, so I think it's just, that could be B, and then
C
what
would
is
be
B would be C,
C,
yeah.
yeah.
I think, is that?
Okay. All right, we'll
Oh,
go.
no, actually, that C, that B is tied to the two before it.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't understand the bullet, the way it's written here about investigation of the water quality on 2 properties of 68. What is that, 2 properties?
It's the one on 68 there. I've recused myself from that hearing.
Yeah.
That was the previous week.
Right.
I think Tony just had a question about what,
The-
401 water quality cert was and what that process was.
Right. So there was really only one property at the time that was being discussed, right?
Yeah.
I believe that was the one Mark Elbag
Right.
did the plan on.
Yeah. So I guess it wasn't really a hearing, there was no hearing that we were.
Right, I think he was just informing us,
Yeah. So,
because that's what he had to proceed with the water quality.
Yeah.
Because that was something that was new to me, that's why I asked, but.
Does it need to be in the record? That wasn't it.
no, probably it doesn't.
Just,
Probably all
Just
right.
scratch it out.
Yeah, that's a good
You know,
idea.
it's not
Otherwise, we
really-
have to add a bunch of,
Yeah.
that's more verbiage.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the old business with the hearings that
Sure.
were continued, and new business, okay.
Mr. Chair.
4B, it says site request, what?
Public
Go ahead.
question.
Question, Mark Kresge, 3 Templeton Road. Did you actually issue an order of conditions on that project?
On Jamie Pitney?
No, the 68 one. I
The
think
68.
The one for Elbag.
I think the month prior. And then this is
Okay.
just kind of
I'm way behind the times.
a sidebar kind of question about what had kind of happened
Yeah,
the previous
right.
month and was just.
It's a technical question.
Yeah.
And he had a lot more work to do, but we,
Yeah, so I think what happened is in between, we got DEP's response.
I think we had the response.
We already did before. I think that was the first time Mark was here,
Yeah.
after the DEP response. And that's when he explained, because I think that was in the DEP response.
Yeah.
That they wanted the water
They had to
quality.
get- Yeah,
So then he explained
yeah,
right.
where, the steps he had to go through.
yeah.
Okay. So, if we strike that bullet, I think we'll be all right. 4B, it says site visit request, order of compliance. It was basically a visit request, it wasn't an order of compliance. And signed by all members, I don't know what that means. We just did Tony did a site visit.
To the site visit, yeah.
Oh, you were passing a piece of paper around the table and signing it, so that's why I said signed.
That was the previous bullet, that was just happening.
Oh, coincidentally.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I
Like I
mean-
said, I'm watching these from a while ago. I wasn't here, so I'm
Oh,
trying to make.
I know you're doing great.
I was just like, I'm trying to make.
What are they doing?
I was like, what's going on? Okay.
So Tony did a site visit,
Okay.
basically, and filled in the request and sent it in.
Yeah. I turned it into the town clerk, and she said she would be sure that conservation got it.
Okay. So you can strike that as secondary.
Okay.
Okay. Other than that, it looks great.
Alright.
All right,
Fix
I'm,
that.
I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the minutes with the corrections. From last time.
I second that?
All in favor? Aye. Good. Old business, we have the two public hearings on Burgess Road, 43 Burgess Road, Lot A, Burgess Road. It's been going on, there's no public, or there's no spokesman for this project. No one has got in touch with me. Last month, I made contact with them to see if they wanted to continue. They said yes. I think it might be time to cancel or discontinue the process. Is that something we can do?
What does it hurt us to continue?
It doesn't hurt anywhere on
Well, I
me,
mean,
but-
we could go on a little bit longer, and if it continues for another,
2 or 3
meeting
months?
or two, then
Right.
I think maybe.
Right, it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
Right,
It
it
doesn't,
will cost something to start it up again.
again, so I think we just let it go, and if it looks like it's going nowhere, then. we'll cancel
Okay,
it.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
Is it worth reaching out to them
That's what I was
before the
gonna
next
say.
meeting and just?
Yes, we could do that. We could reach out to, Mr.
It is Stanley.
That's what it was.
I can't say, Soczki?
Sachki.
Soczki?
And
No, the
the
one-
representative is Mark Popham.
Yeah, okay, Popham, yeah. He was a spokesman, so we don't know the people. So if you could send him an email and see if he wants to continue for next month and be on the agenda again. All right, so,
Or just give us an update.
yeah,
Yeah, update.
that would be good. And, so, I'd like to entertain a motion to continue the public hearings, both of these listed here, the public hearing for parcel 3-1, 43 Burgess Road, and parcel 3-43, Lot A on Burgess Road.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
All in favor?
Okay, thanks. New business. Malone Road Trailhead Site Inspection Request and Proposed Project Presentation by Mark Kresge for trail from parking lot to scenic overlook on Dottie Athens Trail. Mark?
Thank you. So, this project, the Open Space Committee is looking at a Mass Trails grant application to put in an accessible trail out there at Dottie Rock, or at Malone. We had always looked at that route in the past, thinking it would be nice to get an accessible trail out there, but didn't see any way to do it. But we recently rethought it, and if we disregard the existing trail and pick an entirely new route, you can actually do it. So it's here before you tonight in two capacities. One is in the regulatory sense. We're requesting a site inspection. There are not any wetlands here. It's a beach forest. And I'll show you where the watershed protection buffers are. So I didn't think it was worth submitting an RDA, but I did want to get a new site inspection request before you and have you make that determination. So the grant application will be due February 1st. We're in the process of talking with contractors and working out details. The notion here is to make at least one of the trails accessible to elderly, strollers, mobility impaired people. This is what the trail looks like right now.
Whoa, we got audio visual effects. Whoa, wow.
This is-
Flabbergasted. And brownies.
Up in the world.
It must be Christmas time.
This is one of the areas that gets soft in the spring. Like most of the high ridges in Hubbardston, this has clay underneath it and doesn't drain particularly well. So it gets muddy in the spring, but there's no, this is all beach and beach
So
understory.
there's no wetlands there, there's no.
Not in my opinion.
Yeah, okay.
So what we're looking to do here is bring in stone dust and convert that into actually a smooth surface that you can roll things along.
Is that just photoshopped?
Yes.
Like, it's like, wait, you already did.
No, that's still what it looks like right there.
Yeah, I mean, this was talked about, some time ago.
We've talked about it
Getting
in other.
a little hand machine, the dumper, and
Yep.
going in there and putting it in.
Yeah, we've talked about doing it on shorter loops, kind of around the fields. But this is really kind of a unique opportunity. Because, we're just bringing in crushed stone and stone dust on top. But what's
That's
actually.
the material I asked you if you were familiar with.
But what's going on here, what we're proposing this time around is the yellow line that you see there. It's 2,000 feet long out to the Dottie Rock overlook. The parking lot and Dottie Rock are at the exact same elevation. We don't have to gain any net elevation to get out to this spectacular overlook, which is a really unusual setting for a accessible trail. Generally, they go around flat fields or swamps or ponds and whatnot. But what happens there at the overlook is that the topography drops away in a cliff, basically, and you have an open view out to Wachusett Mountain, and then the rest of the area to the east.
In town too.
You can, if you get the right angle, you can see the Unitarian Church steeple as
Yeah,
well.
you can see the church there, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the primary project that we're looking at. Depending on how things play out money-wise, how much we think we can ask for a grant, how much our estimates come back.
And what'd you say it was, 2,000 feet?
It's 2,000 feet. Yep. If all the stars align, we might try and add on another shorter loop to get back to the parking lot rather than just doing an out and back. But we'll have to see how that plays out.
Now, on a trail like that, would you let them, bring the motorized scooters, the electric scooters, something of
Yeah.
that nature?
Yeah, the conservation restriction does allow motorized for that purpose.
Yeah.
Not,
As long as it's
obviously,
under a
not
horse-
ATVs, not
under
dirt
100
bikes.
horsepower.
Yeah. So again, here's the parking lot, here's the trail. This is one of the 200, 400-foot buffers around this stream here. The red is the 200-foot, the yellow is the 400. So this parcel here is on the affected parcels list because of that little bit right there. And then over on this side, this parcel is also an affected parcel because of this 200-foot zone and 400-foot zone, but this is, 200 feet lower in elevation and down a cliff from the area that we're talking about.
I think we would request everybody to do this visual, presentation from now on.
Yeah, no hand waving. It's gonna be like this, we'll go over there.
Yeah.
And you can see on the contours that we're barely crossing any contours to get out there. It's just, we've got to pick the flattest possible route through the local topography. It drops about 25 feet at the lowest point between the two endpoints.
You're gonna have tree removal and stump removal and that kind of thing?
There would be some, not big
Not a lot.
trees, but there would be stuff up to about 4 inches.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on that trail and the woods are pretty open there too.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not-
it's
it's
gonna
not-
be really easy to.
It's not thick.
No.
You can just about drive through there in
Yeah.
a lot of places.
So for anybody that hasn't been out there, that's the view that you get. That's what you see right there. And again, that's what you sit. And just over to the right here would be the Unitarian steeple. So right now, this is what the overlook looks like. We've got the rustic log bench out there at the really good view just before the topography drops off. If we were bringing a stone dust trail up to this point, we would not be able to get down to that bench. That would be too steep, unless we want to advertise it as a ski jump for wheelchairs. So again, depending on how the dollars play out, what would be really nice would be to put a viewing deck in there and just bring the stone dust trail right up to the edge of the deck, and people can wheel right onto the deck and get down to the good view. This is, well, we don't have the final word yet, but preliminary feedback from North County Land Trust is that this structure would be allowable under the terms of the restriction because it's specifically associated with accessibility of the trails.
Sounds reasonable.
Looks nice.
Yeah, sounds reasonable. Unfortunately, that deck would cost like $200,000.
As long as the same people are doing the one on this building.
I don't get it.
I heard that.
But
price of
$250,000.
I said, I'm going back in business. I can retire after that job.
Everything's gone up, Tony, you know. The government might say 7-8% inflation, but I say it's more like 38% or
Yeah.
68%, depending on what you're trying to buy.
Lumber went up over 40.
And tires at Pete's Tire Barn and all the parts that I buy and those brownies, it's all gone up. I had breakfast this morning, Joyce and I, you know, it's $35 at the hen house with, you know, tip. That's a lot of dough.
Yeah, for breakfast.
For breakfast. Anyway.
The other end of the day is more expensive. And if you have 2 drinks, that's usually the same as what your meal is.
And we're getting used to that, it's like normal now.
Well, I went Friday night, took 2 friends to Reno's in East Boston. Did get 2 bottles of wine.
East Boston.
The tip, when I was through, with tip, $425. So, don't
East
cry
of
too
Boston.
much about breakfast.
That's where all the Italians go.
And oh, absolutely. I went with Vinny Scatino and
Oh, okay.
Tony Capone and his wife. Sure.
So who cares about the $400?
That's where all the people went after the Brinks robbery. They went to Reno's.
I see. To celebrate?
Oh, yeah. In fact, the waitress who waited on her husband was found dead in his trunk.
Oh, wow.
Enough stories.
Some good information.
That's how they could afford to go.
And then one of the others, they killed
Did you go to Cadillac?
killed him in his bed and left his wife alive watching they machine gunned him right now. I got all these stories.
These are all friends of yours?
No, I didn't know him, but my friend Vinny Scatino, his father,
Oh.
was
So you're-
involved in that.
I see. Well, quite a crowd you hang out with.
They're good people. I mean, his kid, one of them's a Boston police officer, the other daughter's a lawyer, and so, you know, they changed their ways.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the parents.
That's the parents.
The kids are good.
They were like in construction.
Good kids, but yeah, going out to eat is tough. I mean,
Yeah, I was complaining about $35 breakfast.
see, I knew I could beat your story. I mean, my best story before was Disney World.
Right.
Just the 2 of us, $425 at the steakhouse. So.
Well, my story is really boring.
Oh.
All I got is stone dust.
That's funny.
But what we're hoping to get from you is a final determination at the January meeting. And happy to schedule sometime this month to walk out there if you want to take a look at the trail alignment, or if you feel you know the topography well enough, that's fine too. Whatever you want to do.
No, I think we have to take a walk. Somebody has to take a walk.
What's the, I guess it's 2,000 feet total from end to end, correct?
Yes.
How much of that is on like an existing trail,
Half
roughly?
of it.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we would realign a couple brief sections even in that area, but basically
Okay.
the section between the parking lot and that
The
purple
star.
star
Yeah.
is existing trail.
Yeah, okay.
We would soften out some of the sweeps along that stretch, so we don't have 90-degree turns.
Yeah.
But primarily that's existing. The orange dashed line is the existing trails out there. The yellow from the star out to the overlook, that yellow would all be new alignment. And once that trail went in, we would abandon the unneeded segments,
Okay.
the existing segments there.
Yeah, I mean, I've walked out there a couple times. It's a nice, easy path to walk on. but we, you know, we can certainly go out and take a look if anyone's interested. Have you been out?
Years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I've done the hike, but
That's
it's
nice.
been a while.
Wanna try and schedule something?
Yeah, sure, why not? And we'll see, you know, who's wants to go or.
Okay.
I don't
Drop me a line, yeah, let me know when, and, I'll meet you.
Okay,
We should do it as soon as we can before the snow comes. I mean, it makes it nicer.
It's supposed to be a nice weekend.
maybe, you know, next week or something.
Any day but Monday.
Yeah. Who wants to go? Tony?
I would go if I'm,
You would?
if I'm available, yeah.
Okay,
He's good enough.
that's good.
I was interested.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow, you're coming up in the world.
He's got connections, so.
All right, whatever you said. What's good for your schedule? You know, the hours and stuff.
If we do like, it gets dark, what, at like 4:30 now, so.
Quite dark by 4:30.
Yeah. Close
Pretty
to
dark
4.
this morning.
If we do
tonight.
like 2:30,
Oh.
one of the days, like kinda later in the afternoon before, would
Sure.
be better for me.
2:30 on Tuesday? Or the following week?
Week from today, at 2:30.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Okay.
Meet at Malone Road?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I probably intend on going myself, just for fun. I know, kinda know what it looks like. But it might be interesting to go out again.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mark, thanks. Other concerns? Questions? I have one thing that's come up, Mr. Kurt Lovely talked to me about, Selfridge Road. The work that's being done on Selfridge Road.
What road?
Selfridge, off of Cruise Road.
Okay.
There is a 34 acre site there. There's a discontinued road, or it's off Cruise Road, and it was purchased by, the pastor of the Congregational Church, I guess. And there's been quite a bit of work done on there, and, you know, Rich had sent pictures in of excavator work and stuff like that. So since that time, well, Mark was there and had sent a letter to them a couple months ago, 2-3 months ago, advising them that if they had any questions about what's wetlands and what should they do, they should contact us. So that was proactive, that we sent something out. Kurt was asked to review the boundary or review the lot lines with Carol Curtis, who abuts that property, I guess, in the Cannesto River area. And he went out and looked at it and said that the lot lines were as she believed, and so on. And he said there was quite a bit of work that's been done out there. including a structure.
Has the structure been put up?
Yeah, 20, something like, you know, I hate to, I don't know how big it is, and I don't know if it's permanent, I don't know if it was a tent or a permanent structure. He seemed to think it was a permanent structure, like 20 feet by 30 feet or something like that.
I mean, if it can go under the greenhouse, no permit is needed for that.
Yeah, so I don't, he said it's, looked like a permanent structure. And they've cleared a lot of the old road away, up so they can drive down it and stuff like that. And they've also doing a lot of logging there. It's pretty muddy.
Who did we hear from? We heard from somebody on the log. Who knew that it was smaller than what you'd have to file for?
The
Anybody?
building is smaller?
Mark had,
I told you that at
Okay,
the
yeah.
time that I was there, which it's probably about a year ago at this point.
Is it really that long? Yeah, I don't know.
What is the building
think
size
so.
that you have to file for?
Not the building size, but
Oh.
what Tom's talking about is whether or not you have to file a cutting plan.
Right.
Oh,
to
okay.
cut
I
trees.
Yeah.
I thought,
And it looked like, and it's 50 cords, or, I forget what the number 1,000 board feet is. But it's, effectively, you need to be over about 2 acres to get into that range.
Okay.
And at the time I was there, it probably was not above that level.
I mean, the whole question, it's good that you put a number on it, because really, if you're not in a chapter in the forestry plan, and a guy had 100 acres and he went out there and cut 5 or 10 acres, I mean, who's to say you can't do that, you know? Can you do it in New Hampshire, can you do it in Maine, can you do it in Massachusetts? I don't know, maybe there is a law against that. It would be a shame, but there probably is.
well, if you're with
Yeah, well, I mean, a cutting plan isn't particularly onerous. I mean, it's
Yeah.
basically just a hoop
Yeah.
you need to jump through.
but you can cut so much, a year or something, what, 5 cord or something. There is a designated area, amount that you can cut, but,
Less than
Even-
50 cords.
even in-
Less
buffer
than 50
zones.
cords,
yeah, okay.
yeah. So that'd be, you know, quite a bit of wood to be cutting.
And Duffy's had involvement on this parcel off and on over the last year. I don't know what's been happening recently, but any structure would certainly fall into his bailiwick.
So it sounds like somebody should have a look at something up there.
Well, that's the question, so
I think it
Carol-
falls more under the building inspector.
Carol the jurisdiction, I guess, is the building inspector, would have any hammer, I guess, and,
well, if they're working within a resource area,
yeah.
then we,
Right, I think,
Yeah, I mean,
I think
there
what-
definitely are wetland resource areas on the property.
Yeah,
There
From-
weren't in the area that had been excavated
Right,
and cut.
my
At
understanding.
the time I was there.
Yeah, my understanding where it goes down to Curtis's, that the road actually goes under the water. But where they're working is up on the top. At least that's the way it was explained to me.
Yeah.
so the last, you know, we
And I think
did,
that's when we got Alan involved. Alan came to a meeting.
I mean, what the situation actually is on that road is that the portion towards Selfridge Road, the first 800 feet, is wholly on, Scott Bischoff, what's his name? Anyway.
Yeah,
The current
Scott,
owner,
yeah.
current
Yeah.
owner. The part that's completely on their property was legally discontinued, which means it doesn't exist. He can do anything with that land that he's allowed to do.
Well, I think there's, from what I was told, it was how it was discontinued. There's more than one way they can discontinue a road.
Yeah,
So-
this was the most legal and proper way to discontinue a road. It was voted on at town meeting.
So, from what I was told, and I didn't see any documents, so I can't say yes or no, but what I was told was that the way it was discontinued, if they brought it up to current standards, it was not taken off. It just had to be rebuilt
It discontinued
to
maintenance.
today's
Right.
standards, or not today's standards, to acceptable standards, however they define that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously people have been trying to develop that property
Yeah.
for decades.
Obviously, that's not under our purview, and that's probably a
No.
legal thing that has to be ironed out. but-
But with regard to the line with Curtis's, so after you move past the first 800 feet there, which is where the excavation work had been happening when I was out there, then you get into a section where that was never discontinued.
Yep.
That was a town road and still is a town road, or
I know they have frontage on that.
there's actually 3 sections.
Yeah.
There's one section that's fully discontinued and on their property. There's another section that was discontinued, but is owned, Curtis owns on one side, they own on the other, which means that the property line goes down the center of the old road. So they can't block that road if Curtis does not approve of blocking it. And then you get into a section that's totally on Curtis land, which is an old town right away. And, but anyway, yeah, it's messy, still messy. Getting messier, sounds like.
So, yeah, so I guess Carol, I understand Carol talked to Duffy about it. Duffy, yeah, knows about it, knows of her concern, and yeah, so I don't know if he's done anything, but apparently there's no, legal funding, so he's not interested in pursuing anything with the guy at this time. That's what I understand from Mr. Leslie, for what that's worth, so.
So I would say, long as it's out of our jurisdiction, we're probably all set.
No, the DCR also, I understand, has been informed
Yeah.
of the concern directly from Carol or something.
So Alan came to one of our meetings when that came up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was here.
So,
It's quite a way, the portion that's within the buffer around Canesto is quite a ways back from the front of the property there.
That's what I understood, yeah.
Has anybody asked the pastor what his plans are for this?
We never got a response from him.
No.
there was a comment that it's for his retreat. He's doing it to put a retreat in or something. But whether or not, whether that's, what did that
Fact
means,
or
I
fiction.
don't know, yeah. So, there's no cutting plan on record with Mike Downing or whatever those things on there. There's a lot of muddy tracks, as you would assume, anyone going into the woods with any piece of equipment. How bad it is, I don't know.
But I know he can cut a certain amount yearly without getting in any trouble.
So I don't know, I'm not really advocating anything, although there is if there's a concern that he's in the wetlands and doing wetlands crossings with no, cutting plan and no, concern, then we would be interested. But how do we get over there and access it? Or we walk up the stream, go fishing and see what's happening? Or, who wants to be the police guy and do this?
I think the property posted. If it isn't posted, you can walk in on the property. You encounter them, then you ask from there, but otherwise, it's kind of like field of view. You can go in. So, is it legally posted? Does everybody know
I heard
that?
it was, but I don't know.
Oh, it is then.
Last I saw, this property was posted, but the neighbors wasn't. So I was standing on the other side of the
Side of
stone
it.
wall, looking at the work being done.
Right, so, if we have a concern, I'm sure if we contacted Carol Curtis, where that, her property is, if we came in from that end, which would be the wet end,
Which is the way
if
I
we
walked,
went,
that's the way I walked it.
so we know we're 100 feet away and there's no disturbance within that, then we'd be relatively safe.
Yeah, we could
It's
say,
not in our
we don't have,
jurisdiction.
it's just people talking, there, you know, there's
Right.
people that are upset because they, you know,
Right.
they tried to develop and it didn't work, so there's, people are extra, observant or whatever.
Now, has the building inspector has been informed about a building and
Apparently,
what did he have to say? Anybody know? Is he gonna take a look?
I don't know. Yeah, I can't say. I'm only hearing it third hand from Mr. Kurt Leslie. But it was something to the effect that there's no, we don't have any, budget for legal assistance, so he's not pursuing it at this time. You know,
Okay.
whether that's interpreted correctly, I can't say, cause I haven't talked to Mr. Duffy.
That's who our building inspector is now.
Yeah. So I guess.
It's Duffy Lanciani.
Duffy Lance.
Doesn't usually go by Mr. Duffy.
What's his last name?
Mr. Duffy. Lanciani. Italian.
Yeah,
Good.
did he go with you?
No. Here you go. Didn't invite him.
Didn't know.
Couldn't afford to take anybody else.
That's funny. That's a big name in Leominster. I don't.
I had an industrial arts teacher, Mr. Lansing.
Yeah, I knew a couple.
He did
Oh.
drafting.
So I guess I could speak to Mr. Lanciani, see what's happening, if he's up to date, has he been out to the site?
So I think our only concern is obviously the wetlands, and if we're gonna get access from Carol, we could walk up that way.
We could do that a
'Cause
week
it's-
from Tuesday.
Everything I've been told, I think he's far enough away so that there isn't a concern, but
Yeah, I don't necessarily, I'm not trying to pry and stick my nose in people's business,
Yeah.
this is America, you know? But, then again, people are,
But again, if he's putting up a building, or has put up a building of sorts,
yeah.
you know, nobody else can do it, so
Right,
why
it's-
should he be able to?
It's
I
all the
guess?
rage now to beg forgiveness rather than ask permission.
That's right.
You know, that's the underlying current, it seems like, in this town, probably a lot of other places. So, alright, I will call Carol and set up something for, at 3:30 or something. We wanna take a walk, but it doesn't have to be a long walk. We don't have to walk 2,000 feet out and 2,000 feet back with our electron microscope searching for wetlands on Dottie
I
Trail.
say we spend our money and buy a mule.
I know.
And a trailer.
It's true. Yeah, we could ride out there.
I mean, that money's just sitting there, you know, gathering dust.
Okay. And I'll talk to Mr. Lanciani.
And I don't mean a four-legged mule.
And then we'll see, at least we'll do something and I can answer at least one interested citizen about this, I guess.
As far as I know, the only time Duffy is in town is
Mondays 3 to 6.
what she said.
Monday?
Monday.
But you can send him an email anytime.
Okay, good. I don't really know the guy, I just said hello to him a few times when I was visiting you.
You work for him as well? Oh, you don't? Oh. Hmm. Surprised they didn't load that on you too.
Not yet.
Not yet. We'll see.
All right, any any other concerns for board members? Okay. You hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
All right, second?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.